is this week. This is my topic actually. Let's do Joe's topic. I just found out, and thanks to Joe. I don't. Was it today or tomorrow? The 26th of March, right? I believe.
I believe it was March 26th. Hold on, let me look at my iPad.
Well, anyway, whatever it is, and Joe's back. Tomorrow, I think, is the 20th anniversary of WCW closing its doors. 2001, when Shane McMahon came out to was it Daytona? You remember
that? Was it Daytona or was it Jacksonville?
One of the two. It was definitely in Florida. Anyway, WCW this week closed its doors. So
March 26, 2001 was the final.
I was right. See? I was right. It's tomorrow, the anniversary. And, I'm glad Joe broke us up because, WCW, like
Panama City Beach, Florida.
There we go. Definitely in Florida. We know that. I just want to reflect.
All of Adam Cole.
Holy shit, you're loud.
Baby.
I'm always loud.
We were way loud that one for a second. I don't know why.
That one sounded like you were like holding the phone up to your.
No, I guess we just want to reflect on WCW and its history and all that because and Joe, you said today earlier in the text, and I finished a book actually about 2 months ago on Death of WCW, by Brian Alvarez and some other people who wrote the book, and just so WCW, especially those final years, is so fucking fascinating because everybody thinks that Vince beat WCW, and then that's not the case. Yeah, sure, WWE improved the product as the years went on, but WCW beat WCW.
For the record, I don't think any fan think that Vince beat WCW. I think that Vince thinks that Vince beat WCW. I think that the narrative that the winners get to write the history, as they say,
Right.
And the narrative that WWE likes to spin is that they beat WCW. Anyone who doesn't only know their version of the story, anyone who's like read the death of WCW or right, exactly.
I don't know if he knows the signal for a robot.
I don't know if he does either, but that was too good to pass up.
Joe, do another reset. Do another reset, Joe.
Reset. I'm trying to reset.
I'm gonna remove the call. I'll remove him. I'll mute him.
I'm trying to reset my Joe Lopez.
Okay.
This video is going to be great to go back and watch tomorrow.
It's okay. I can on the call. He'll come back.
All right. So,
go ahead.
20 years ago, the death of WCW official. Vince is the one that loves to say that he beat WCW, but in reality, it was WCW that beat WCW. Ted Turner gave too much guaranteed money to aging talent, didn't prioritize building up his roster with younger, more hungry talent. And I think that's the big thing that you have to remember here. DDP, older guy whenever he started wrestling. Nash, big contract as he got older. Hall, big contract as he got older. Hogan, obviously, big contract. Savage, big contract. Sting was getting older. He got a big contract. So the way I look at it is what killed them also was the really bad deal that they had with AOL, the merger that really killed Turner and their financial strategy. I think a lot of it had to do with AOL didn't want anything to do with wrestling. And Turner got sick and tired of having to shell out guaranteed money for these aging talents. I think he would have been smarter to keep guys like Benoit and Jericho and Saturn and those guys under contract for longer and not letting them jump to WWE because you got to pay Scott Hall this much money. You got to pay Kevin Nash this much money. You got to pay these guys this much money. Like, that's probably primarily reason number one I think they failed, and primary reason number two that they failed. They stopped using logic when it came to booking, and they let guys book themselves however they wanted. They gave Hogan creative control. They gave Nash creative control. Hell, they gave Kevin Nash the fucking book.
Let me ask you a question, Mike, on that same topic. When do you think that happened? When do you? What point? What was the demarcation point of when that happened? You believe they lost their way? Because I have an idea.
I mean, it had to be shortly after.
Like what feud?
I would probably say when the Wolfpack kind of became their own thing. I think that's when they kind of were like, wow, we have like 97 people in the NWO. Like, we really have to do something. And rather than using logic with it, they were like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll just put the young guys in one, and we'll leave Hogan with all the middle card guys because Hogan's a big enough draw on his own.
Right.
The problem is when the second and third like biggest draw in the black and white was Buff Bagwell and Scott Norton, I think that's a problem. Like, how do you ever, and you guys can answer this question after I finish. You built Sting for 8 million years to be the WCW guy and to be anti-NWO and to, I'm going to rip cord down and beat everybody with a baseball bat. How the fuck do you let him paint his face like a tomato and join the NWO Wolfpack? He should have been the guy that never joined the NWO.
Agreed.
But the problem was you have NWO black and white, and what is Sting wearing? Black and white with black and white face paint. What are we doing, guys?
I agree.
I get him being the Crow and being the outsider and not being that, but he's wearing the same colors as the guys who he's feuding with.
Yep. To me, I dropped off after Wolfpack because number one, I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think Joe made a mention a couple of months, a long time ago. I hated the Wolfpack angle. Hated it from the word go. I was NWO Hollywood. In fact.
Of course you were. Of course you were, Hogan.
Yeah. So, Joe, go ahead. Please work.
I don't think. I
wonder if we should just do audio only with him.
I don't know.
Oh no! To our listeners on the podcast, we're having a little issues with our friend Joe Lopez. He's actually holed up in a hotel right now, and I guess his Wi-Fi is kind of fucked up. So, me and talk about it again.
Yeah, I mean he's
oh shit.
Well, I mean we knew that it would only work for an extended period of time, and then it would boot him anyways.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously I enjoyed the Wolfpack because I was like, oh look, they're gonna go against Hogan, and then I realized that Hogan had like nobody reputable with him, and I was just like, this is dumb.
Horse. Well, it was on a horse.
Dude, when okay, like I said, when the second and third most over act in your stable is like Buff Bagwell and Scott Flash Norton, like I'm sorry, I don't give like it doesn't matter. Like if you would have left Nash with Hogan or Hall with Hogan and made it like Nash and Luger and whatever, fine. But first off, Sting should have never joined the NWO. Second off, how do you let him paint his face like a fucking tomato? Third, like you like the real issue here, and it was a flaw that WCW had from the very beginning. And beginning, I mean like 94, 95, 96.
Correct.
They let guys who were wrestling in the company book the company. Like Kevin Sullivan being fucking head booker and the whole Brian Pillman, I respect you booker man thing, and I quit in the strap match. Like, how are you letting the guy who's running the company be the guy who's letting like in a major storyline? Like, I don't get it. Like, when Dusty took the book over, he was done in ring, and he never really pushed Dustin, which is surprising to me because I thought that would have made perfect sense. Push Dustin, let him win the TV title, let him win the US title, let him have big feuds. No, instead he decided to go wear drag on WWE and become probably one of the most over that he was ever in his entire career as Goldust. So like that's the thing that it's frustrating to me that WCW could have fixed themselves by get a booking committee in there and don't let it be guys who are wrestling on the everyday roster. Like it shouldn't have been like that. Number two, stop giving away all the guaranteed money. They gave away too much of it too fast. Joe Lopez just texted us. I'm on Wi-Fi now. If you want to try, I don't know. Maybe we should start this over.
Let's get him to the call real quick.
Okay.
Give me a second. Keep talking.
Yeah, no, I just don't think that I'm like it's frustrating. I guess that's the thing, is that it was so fixable, and rather than fixing it, they kind of half-assed it. And like that's the thing that's it's frustrating to me, because like, they could have fixed a lot of things within it. Oh, do we have Joe?
Yeah, Joe. I think my man.
Oh, there he is. There's his beautiful. There's the beard.
I mean, let's see if it works.
I mean, you didn't freeze 12 seconds into being on the call, so I think you have to be ahead of where you've been at.
Okay.
Quick synopsis points so that you can hit on it just in case you freeze. I said flaw number one was Sting joining the NWO. I really felt like WCW died whenever they did the whole Wolfpack NWO feud. I think that was the okay, we're really just murking this up just to sell merchandise, and I think that really kind of put a damper on things. And third, what I said was something that they could have fixed from the very beginning, was not having everyday members of the roster be the booker. Kevin Sullivan, Kevin Nash.
Oh, yeah.
Because I felt like it wasn't that they were just booking them, like they were booking themselves in big things. Like, why are we having Kevin Nash in a middle of a world title picture while he's the booker? Why are we having Kevin Sullivan versus Brian Pillman, I respect you, Booker Man strap match?
Why is that
honestly
streak stupid?
To me, I think that all of it could have been picked up, like all of it, like your nose diving, but you could have set the course right until you beat Goldberg. And the funny thing is, like, you nailed it too, because who beat Goldberg? Kevin Nash. While he was the booker, he booked himself to beat the most well-built guy in probably the like other than Steve Austin. You know what? You can't even say other than Steve Austin. Just if you're looking at people built from scratch, turned into main eventers, there was nobody besides Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg just set the mold for that. And the guy who was booking the company at the time booked himself in the most ridiculous way possible to be the first guy to beat this man. That was it. That killed it. Right there, that was the moment, in my opinion, creatively. Like we all know, the actual moment that killed it was the AOL Time Warner merger.
Right.
That was the actual thing that killed it. I know I heard Mike say that before. That was the actual thing that killed it, because at the end of the day, and I feel like TNA has proven this for at least, I don't even think they're proving it right now, but there was at least a 6-year period in the mid 2010s where they were proving this. A wrestling company can stay in business as long as someone is out there who's willing to pour money into it. It doesn't need to be successful. It doesn't need to have fans. It doesn't need to be making any kind of profit. If the owner is willing to still pour money into it, and if there's some sort of network or streaming service or someone that's willing to show it, which usually has more to do with relationships than it has to do with anything else, if that all exists, and these days with YouTube, like the NWA has proven, you don't even need a partner. You just go off and do your own thing. It's the whole reason why AEW has 14 different shows instead of just like one on TNT, you know? So at the end of the day, like, anyone can have a wrestling, like a wrestling company can stay alive until it doesn't have things like someone pouring money into it or a platform to be shown on. So what killed WCW was the AOL Time Warner merger, and the fact that as soon as Ted Turner no longer was in charge, the people who were in charge couldn't wait to get rid of wrestling. That's what killed it. But creatively speaking, I'm putting it all on the moment that Goldberg lost.
You know what fucks me more than anything else, the whole WCW thing? Is that in 1998, freeze frame 1998, and look at both rosters of both the WWE and WCW. WCW had by far more talent top to bottom. We're talking about like Eddie Guerrero. We're talking about Chris Jericho still there. We're talking about guys that were not utilized because of the booking. Because to me, WWE at that point, and even for a couple of years into Attitude Era, which is why we always say it's overrated, was mostly top heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? WCW was not like a talent. It was just bad booking and bad decision making, and ultimately, you had the AOL merger, of course, that did the thing. So that's what bothers me.
So I actually feel like it had the opposite problem. Instead of a lack of talent, there was maybe too much talent. And this is the same problem that I feel like AEW has right now.
You're gonna say that.
To a certain degree, I think even WWE, but WWE manages it a little bit better because they have their 3 separate brands, right. So there's kind of more opportunity. AEW's got like 85 people on their roster signed right now, and about 12 of them show up on Dynamite every week. Like, that's a problem. And it's a problem because there's so many guys that I could sit here and be like, that guy deserves a push. That guy should be working one of the main programs.
Right.
That guy should be on TV every week. And they're not, because there's not enough room for them. Like, that's just it. And, like, yeah, it's great that you have these guys who can cycle in and out. If someone gets injured, it's like, okay, you have a great backup ready. That's awesome. Except if you're a fan of that guy, he's sitting on the bench. So, like, what good is that? Like, honestly, like, I want Jungle Boy to be one of the main stars of the company. He's not getting that opportunity anytime soon. And it's not because he doesn't have the talent. It's because where? Like where is he getting this opportunity? Where is there room for him?
On Joe's point of too much talent versus not enough talent, all that thing. I think the key for WWE in '98 was they figured out what started working.
Yeah.
It was Austin, it was DX, it was Undertaker, it was Kane.
Foley.
Okay, so if those are going to work, let's give the fans what they want. Which are those guys multiple times a night, multiple segments a night. They did what they needed to keep themselves in business. Then Vince did something that Turner never was able to do. And I can't say Turner per se, but WCW front office. Vince started to see Shawn was wearing out. Austin was wearing out. So what do? We got to get the next big stars. You develop Triple H. You develop The Rock. You went out and you got Eddie Guerrero. You went and got Chris Jericho. You found Kurt Angle. You found the guys that you were going to go into the 2000s with. And a lot of them you found right underneath Ted Turner's nose.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because you were willing to give somebody a little bit more guaranteed upfront money, where Ted was having to pay all those guys all those older guys the big money at the back end of their careers. That was something that WCW never did. They never developed the young star well. It was always, well, we got this guy from WWE. He was pretty good there. I think we should pay him some money. Teddy's 39 with a broken shoulder. Yeah, he might be able to not do some elbow drops, but he could probably throw a suplex. No, you have to use your arm for that too. Fuck it, we'll find out something for him. Let's just give him a big contract. He's a big name. No, like it doesn't work that way. Like that, it started to become. I don't want to watch 57-year-old Hulk Hogan versus 48-year-old Ultimate Warrior in a fucking redo of fucking WrestleMania fucking ever. Like I don't want to watch it ever again. But it was what they were trying to put on TV every week. Now here's the thing. Goldberg was inevitably going to have to lose. He should have lost to a younger talent that you were putting over as the next guy, so that Goldberg could have had someone, even if he lost to somebody respectable or in a respectable way, that Goldberg could have at the end of the match gave him a fist bump and then was like, "We'll do this again some other time." Like that would have made more sense than a taser from Scott Hall, who was actually feuding with Kevin Nash, but now they're still friends again. Because, it's really weird in WCW. We're friends one day, we're enemies the next, and then we're friends again 3 days later. WCW booking fucking makes my head hurt.
I'm telling you, man.
So, I guess the thing that I always go back to when it's all said and done, the thing that I always come back to with WCW was they were unable to develop the next tier. You had the old WCW, the old WWE guys, Hogan, Savage, Flair. Sting wasn't a WWE guy, obviously, until after. but you had the older guard that was still in a dominating position because they didn't want to give up the book, or they didn't want to give up the money, or they didn't want to give up anything else. Sometimes you got to take them out behind the shed and you got to shoot them in the head and you just got to fucking let them go. Like, I get it. Like, oh, we need to sign Flair so he doesn't go to WWE. You're really that scared of 59-year-old Ric Flair? Because his contract you could have paid for Eddie and Jericho and Saturn and Malenko, and you could have kept 7 guys that you let go with his one contract. You could have made the second tier. You could have kept the cruiserweight division the best thing in professional wrestling. And you could have built the cruiserweight division. Hell, you could have made the Monday show the old guard, Monday Nitro, the NWO Monday Nitro, where they feud with WCW. You give me Thursday Night Thunder, and it's all the cruiserweights, or the tag team division and the cruiserweights. Sold. And I think that they were going a route similar to that whenever the Fusion Media Group tried to buy it. And then the shit with Bischoff hit the fan, and they were unable to buy it. And then, Vince swooped in and technically gets the win, but I don't think that we can give him the win over WCW. I think we have to give the loss to the merger with AOL.
Right.
Mm.
I just think that's what it comes back to, is that was a bad merger, and that merger killed any extra monetary money that could have went into WCW.
Right. All right.
So wait.
But
you guys, did you watch the last Nitro live?
No. I did.
Yeah, I remember they did the whole showing it on Raw. Yeah, I did watch that. Raw? Yes. Yeah, I can't remember, to be honest with you.
I remember, I'm pretty sure I watched Nitro while Nitro was on, and I wasn't a WCW fan. I know I've said that many times on here. I was a WWF fan. I was a Raw every Monday night person. I didn't even bother flicking the channel. I mean, when the NWO was first a thing, and when Sting was, 97, I was flipping back and forth. But by 98, 99, I hated Goldberg back then and stuff, so I was good on that.
I did.
I watched the last Nitro, though, because it felt historic.
I did attend a WCW show, though, in Miami, I think either 99 or 2000, and Hogan was back to red and yellow at that time.
Okay. That's cool, actually.
If you didn't follow the business in tooth and nail back then, you can tell there was something going on, because the crowd was very small. There was no energy in that place.
Right.
You can tell that things were definitely the same as they were in 97, 96, and even the first part of 98. So, right. Yeah. Like I said, WCW is an interesting topic. I'm sure on this podcast through the years we're going to keep touching upon it, because it's intriguing. 20 years later, how to me it goes back to me for the talent. They had the talent to do it. Oh my God, had the talent to do it. And you look up in hindsight, like who came through there, then go to Vince and then become legends in WWE. Jericho, Guerrero, you name it. You know what I mean? It's a really sad thing, but it's also a lesson to be learned, hopefully. So
one day I'm going to make my topic book WCW as if WWE didn't buy it for the rest of that year.
Which year would you start it at?
No, I would go like that purchase never happened, and you're picking up with the champions that going into that last night of Nitro.
That's a good one.
That might be it.
To me,
summer.
See, to me,
that's one. Go ahead.
To me, I think that the more fascinating what if WCW never went out of business, if Bischoff's company was able to buy it and it continued, the most fascinating what if to me isn't so much the what would have happened to the guys that were already there, because I think it's a safe bet. Scott Steiner would have continued on, Booker T would have continued on. Maybe some of the legends come back. Maybe some of them still end up going to WWE at the end of their Turner deals, because they might have still sat out. They might have still been like, "Hey, sorry, Eric, but my contract isn't part of what you're buying. I'm sitting at home until my contract's up, and then give me a call. Vince is going to give me a call too, and we'll negotiate." Maybe we could have seen some kind of crazy bidding wars over Goldberg and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan in the year like 2002 and 2003 and stuff. And who knows where they would have gone. But I think what's also interesting is you have an entire generation of wrestlers, you know, your Batistas, your John Cenas, your Randy Ortons, your Carlitos, your Mr. Kennedys, all those guys from like the mid 2000s, from like, you know, like 2002, 2003 and forward, who only had one place to go. It was WWE or bust. You either made it in WWE or you were working in the Hammerstein Ballroom at best for Ring of Honor.
Oh, really?
Right, which don't get me wrong, like, I was a fan. I loved that. But if you wanted to be successful, like even today now, at least you have AEW as another option to be signed with. Back then, you had, you know, these two options. So I think it would have been interesting if WCW had continued. Would that have affected where some of the people who kind of came up during that time where there were no options, there was only WWE, could that have affected them in different ways? And could we have seen some of them become bigger stars? Like, you know, Carlito didn't work out in WWE. But if WCW still existed, might he have showed up one night on Nitro and gone on to become like the biggest star in the company? If you told me yes, I don't know that I would say that I think you're crazy. Like, and it's interesting to think of that, you know? Would Randy Orton be on, like, year 37 of his WWE career? Or would he have gone to WCW and become a legend there? Like, I feel like, you know, the cream rises to the top. I feel like guys like that would have still made it somewhere. It just might have been interesting if they had more options on the where.